So, I had a good night at Paul last night, and today I promised you this video. I'm going to do my Celtic and Rangers Oldfirm combined 11. Now, no everybody's going to agree with my 11 here. Everybody's going to come up with their own 11s, and I'm sure there'll be many disagreements in the comments. Listen, this was just for a wee bit of fun. So you can put your 11 in the comments. I'm going to give you a manager as well. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to go with the goalkeeper. Between this we had Brad Douglas, or the man that I went for, Alan McGregor. I don't think that you could pick anybody else in this 11. I think what he's done throughout his whole career for Rangers has been fantastic. I think some of the saves that he made against Red Star Belgrade in particular saved Rangers in their campaign, because I think if they get a goal, maybe changes the tie. So Alan McGregor, he was part of the 2008 team as well, and he's continued to be a strong part of this team that's made Seville. This is a combined 11, obviously, of the Rangers Seville team, the Celtic Seville team. So Alan McGregor gets in at goalkeeper. And at right back, I mean, I don't think they could have went for many other people than this man. He's the current top goal scorer in the Europa League, James Tavernier. You think of his assists, his crosses, he can get a good shot on him as well, and obviously he can take a penalty. I think it's a bit of an unfair assessment that he only scores penalties. I mean, the amount of goals that he scored from open play for Rangers alone, he's definitely going to go down as a club legend. I mean, they got him for pennies when you compare. I think the whole team only cost 13 million, so James Tavernier in at right back, what a player he is. And at centre back, I do have Celtic players in this team, I promise. I went for the big Swede, Johan Mjällby. What a player he was back in the day. Honestly, a colossus at the back. He was a big player for Sweden as well at major tournaments. And yep, someone who was a really good defender. He did well for Celtic in Europe games against Juventus, and then obviously that run to Seville that we're here to talk about, he was a big part in that as well. So Johan Mjällby is in at centre back. By the way, just well, I mentioned the formation is like a 4-4-2, and so I've kind of went with 3 across the middle, and I'm cheating with who I've got. So a 4-3-1-2, sorry. So we played 3 centre mids with 1 in behind the front 2. But on to the next centre half, we're going to go with Connor Goldson. I think he's played every minute for Rangers in the competition. I think he's probably, I've said this in previous videos, one of the most improved players in his time at Rangers. I think when he came in, he had a mistake in him, but now you look at him, he's so solid, so assured. And if they win, I think it'll be interesting to see if the Rangers win the Europa League, if he stays on for what would be a Champions League campaign for Rangers. That would be great to get 2 Champions League sides in Europe as well. But yeah, Connor Goldson in at centre back beside Johan Mjällby. On the left back now, this guy had a great dig on him, didn't he? He's a player that Celtic signed, I'm sure it was from Leeds, and he didn't come with much of a reputation at the time, but he certainly made one from himself when he came up here. Alan Thompson, Rangers fans will know all about him as well. If he wasn't getting sent off against Rangers, he was scoring goals against them. I remember the one, the shot that hit the bar and went in the last minute winner there against Rangers. And obviously, yep, great player. I just remember these drilling free kicks. Rangers fans will think of George Albert's when I say that, but I'm sure Alan Thompson had a similar sort of a free kick on him. Pretty sure he scored a goal against Liverpool in this one as well, which was big for Celtic. So Alan Thompson, fantastic player, and he goes into the 11. On to the 3 midfielders now, and we start off with this guy, Glen Kamara. I think he has been a great signing for Rangers. They got him for pennies for Dundee, and Dundee got him for a non-league side in England as well, so it's crazy to see the transformation in his career. There's been talk of Arsenal looking at him, and I just think, I know Celtic fans will look at me and go, you're not going to have Neil Lennon here. No, I'm going to go with Glen Kamara, because I think that he's got more of a goal in him from centre midfield than what Neil Lennon ever did, and I think that he's possibly going to go on and have a better career. I think he will move on from Rangers one day, and there's been talks about Arsenal looking at him, and I think he's been one of these players that kind of goes under the radar. But I tell you right now, if you take Glen Kamara out of that Rangers side, then you'll see a completely different result, I think, most of the time. So he is one of my midfielders, Glen Kamara. On to the next one, I have went for Stillian Petrov. Came from Bulgaria. Again, an unknown, but what a player this guy was. He could score goals. I think he's quite good in the tackle as well. He got an assist in him, and he even went on to do well when he moved on from Celtic to Aston Villa. So yeah, Stan Petrov, he makes it into my combined Oldfirm 11. Now, are we going to have another Celtic player as well as in mid, or is it going to be a Rangers player? Is it going to be Ryan Jack? No, but that is a Scotsman. I've went for Paul Lambert. I think you just can't look at the career he had and not put him in this squad. I think he won the Champions League at Borussia Dortmund, and I swear I'm not putting him in because he used to play for Motherwell as well. But no, I think he was great when he went to Celtic. He had a goal in him, scored against Rangers a couple of times, and I know he maybe wasn't the most prominent player in that running for the Celtic Seville side, but I just think you look at the career he had, and I can't not put him in the 11, so Paul Lambert makes it as a other centre mid in my 11. Now, I'm cheating a wee bit by putting this player here because he's predominantly a winger, but I couldn't not have him in the 11. Ryan Kent, I think on his day, he's probably one of the best, if not the best players in the Scottish Premiership. He's 7 million they got him from Liverpool, and I just think he's a great player. I think that they're going to make a massive profit on him when he eventually does decide to move on. And if he's on his game on Wednesday night, it's Tuesday as I film this, but if he's on his game on Wednesday night, that gives Rangers every chance of winning the Europa League, and I just think he's an absolute joy to watch when he's on his game. So Ryan Kent in the hole, cheating a wee bit, but had to have him in the 11. Flood 2, you've got to start with this man, haven't you? Henrik Larsson arrived at Celtic from Feyenoord, and again, nobody really knew much about him, but I think he proved himself to be a world-class player when he was here at Celtic. I think he was probably Celtic's best, not even probably, he was Celtic's best ever modern day striker. What a player, and I think for me, he didn't get the credit that he deserved when he was up here. I think it was only when he moved on from Celtic to Barcelona and Man United that the pundits down south started to see him as a world-class player. But Rangers fans will tell you all about him, and Celtic fans knew that he was world-class for the minute that he started performing up here. What a player. Phenomenal goal scorer in Europe. You think he's late winning against Boavista in that run in Seville as well. Absolutely outstanding. Honestly, I think one of the best players ever to grace the Scottish game, and he certainly graces this combined Seville 11. Henrik Larsson is our first striker. Now this is where I think I'm going to divide a lot of opinion. Alfredo Morelos could have been a shout, but I look at that Seville team, and I don't know if it's because when we look back when we were younger, and there's a kind of a nostalgic factor, but I just think they haven't got these two cause for defences, and I have to put Chris Sutton in this 11. I just think he was brilliant in there. He came from Chelsea with not much of a reputation, because he did well at Blackburn, and then his career had sort of started to fade away at Chelsea, but when he came up here he kind of revived his career, had a bit of a renaissance, and he scored against his old club Blackburn in that run, as well as another few goals. I think he got one against Stuttgart as well, which was a pretty vital away goal for Celtic in that run in. So I know that Rangers fans are going to be screaming at their TV or their phone, whatever they're watching this at the minute, and going, "You've not got Morelos in." As I did say at the start of the video, we're all going to disagree with each other and have different opinions at points with this 11. So I've went for Chris Sutton, but that is probably unfair a wee bit on Alfredo Morelos because he is fantastic as well, but no, Chris Sutton just pips him for me just because it's what I remember. I don't know if maybe I went for that because of a nostalgic factor, but Chris Sutton completes the 11. Now for the manager, and this is where I'm going to anger Celtic fans, but I went for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, and the reason for this is because he just came in at the tail end of the year. Everybody was pining about how Rangers were going to miss Gerrard, and I'm going to tell you something here. I think that what Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has achieved wouldn't have happened if Steven Gerrard would have stayed at Rangers. I think he's been more tactically aware than what Gerrard has shown himself to be in Europe, and the squad only cost £13 million. He's not had much time to put his own stamp on it. He had to pick them up. They beat Borussia Dortmund, they beat RB Leipzig, and that's why he's my manager for this 11. So there you go. Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. I'll get a feeling that you're probably going to disagree with it, but let me know your 11 and your manager as well. I'm not trying to take away from the Celtic Seville side by naming Gio as my manager. I think Martin O'Neill did a great job at Celtic, won a treble, got them to the final in Seville, as you say, and he'll go down as a Celtic legend. I just think that Gio has had a much tougher assignment on his hands when you take the financial gap between the sides that he's faced. I think Celtic were better prepared. They had a much better squad than what Rangers did, and they were maybe closer to the teams that they faced in that run into Seville. So I think what Rangers have done is a more miraculous achievement, but I think the Celtic squad overall in terms of playing individuals were better, but we tried to make it fair in the combined 11, just a wee bit of fun. But listen, two fantastic achievements. Here's hoping that Rangers can go on and lift the Europa League in Seville, because it's good for Scottish football, gets the coefficient up. It would allow me to hopefully see Motherwell in group stage football one day if they keep raising the coefficient. So there's the 11, there's the manager. Great run by Celtic to Seville, and good luck to Rangers in the final. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Don't forget to click subscribe. Cheers.